I want to introduce our guest for today, Lauren Sabo. She's a special ed and education lawyer here in Columbus, Ohio. And Lauren, the big buzzword now is dyslexia.
Yes.
Which is great because it's been something that people have been looking for quite a long time. But there's so much general vibe or talk about it. What exactly does the law have to say about dyslexia?
Sure. So there has been some recent changes in the law, and the main idea is that we really want students to be getting a screener, a dyslexia screener, right? So the goal is that we are going to start, schools are required now under the law to start implementing literacy intervention plans, which some schools have already done, you know, in other senses, but this is really specific for dyslexia. So it was supposed to start pretty soon here, although schools were not quite ready and still trying to figure out what the law said. So it has been pushed back to the 2024-2025 school year is when, under House Bill 583, schools will all be required now to actually administer a screening for kindergarten students. So kindergarten to third grade, but really that kindergarten year, kind of that January to January. And the idea is that there's going to be kind of 3 tiers of intervention support for students under this new law.
Well, my student is struggling right now, and I really suspect that it's dyslexia, but what they're saying is, well, we'll wait until the 3rd grade reading guarantee and then we'll see. But we're going to miss this whole situation. What could someone do?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, early intervention is key, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that the student will need a IEP or potentially Section 504 plan, but there is also something called a RIMP, which is really a robust reading intervention plan for students who are struggling in that area. You know, because we don't want a student to get to a place where in that 3rd grade year, then there's conversations about retention. So are we going to move them forward or not? Or they're not getting the score that they need technically to move forward. So early intervention is key. So reaching out to the school, right? And again, you know, I'll say it again and again, but put it in writing, right? And typically I say an email, you know, a letter's fine too, but making sure that that's in your file as well, that you're actually putting that request in saying, hey, you know, I have a concern, my student is struggling, and I want them evaluated.
What if, like, the school says, well, we can't evaluate. We had a situation, they said, well, we won't be able to evaluate them until April, you know, so and so. Would it be helpful to have outside screening or testing?
Absolutely, yes. So sometimes parents, if you're able to get outside screening, whether that's through, you know, somebody private, through potentially, you know, Children's Hospital or, you know, some other provider, you're able to provide that to the school as well. And, you know, the reality is though the school does have timelines, especially if you're making a request under the IDEA, which is the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. The school then has timelines that are triggered. So if you put that in writing, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a parent or guardian, it could be really anybody that has knowledge of that child that has a concern. It doesn't need to be anything lengthy, I say, really just, you know, that you're concerned, student name, what the concerns are, what areas, so whether it's reading, math, you know, maybe social, emotional, anything that you have a concern about, lay that out and then make that request that you want an evaluation under the IDEA, and then that will trigger the process. And the school really shouldn't be saying, oh, it's going to take months and months, because again, they really only have kind of a 30-day timeline to basically move forward on that request or not. They could on occasion say, hey, we don't think there's an issue, and you can always appeal those decisions.
Oh, that is great, because it really gives people hope that there's a pathway that they have a sense that something's not right with their child, and to be able to move forward without being stuck. So
absolutely.
Thank you so much for this great information. Lauren, I hope you'll be back and talk with us soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Julieann.
You're welcome. Bye. Hi, I'm Julieann Ash. I'm the Director of Midwest Educational Therapy and Associates. You can find us at www.metaoh.org. You'll find all of our social media there. Reach out whenever we can help. Thanks.
And my name is Lauren Sabo, and I'm an education and special education attorney here in Columbus, Ohio. I represent students pre-K through PhD all across the state, and you can find me at www.studentlawOhio.com.